In this video, we're going to discuss the new feature in TRAC version 3.1 of the Event Manager. As you can see on my screen, I've loaded in some data and brought up the graph. When you look at the data graphically, you can see that there's a couple of periods where the data has stocked out, and this is causing a ripple into the forecast that we would want to correct. I also have a period here where I promoted the data and had a special order. Using this new feature, we can apply events to these periods interactively using the graph. To begin, we simply right-click on the graph and choose Manage Events. This brings up our Manage Events dialog box, which I'm going to move over to the side so I can see the screen as well. In the dialog box, you'll have an option to choose the type of events that are happening, and you'll see them applied down here below. To begin, we need to click on the Edit button first. This brings up the Manage Event Codes, which allows us to define the different types of events that we might want to use. In this case, I'm going to set my first event code to a stockout. And go ahead and click Enter. Notice that my item was added to my list of events, and you see that its status is pending. I can now add a second event if I like. In this case, I'll go ahead and say Price Promotion. And go ahead, hit Enter again. Now you can see my list of events that I have no event, a stockout, and a price promotion. In order to apply these, I simply hit the Commit button. You can add to this list to have as many or as few event types as you would like. It's my recommendation that when you begin using the tool, you list as many of the general event types as you can think of. Now that I'm done with this box, I go ahead and say Exit to close it and return back to my Manage Events dialog box. Now I can click points on my graph. I'll click on my first point, which is my promotional period. You can see that in the dialog box, it lists the date that I've chosen, and I can go ahead and now pick from my drop-down list what type of event occurred. In this case, it was a price promotion, so I'll go ahead and choose Price Promotion. Notice that it adds into my list of event codes that I'm using. It says for December of 2011, I put on a price promotion, and this change is pending. I can then click on my additional points where I had my stockout. I can click on this month, and using the Control button, I can click on the second month as well to select multiple periods at the same time. For these items, it was a stockout, so I choose from my drop-down list my stockout option. And notice that it applies the code below to these periods as well. Now that I've applied my codes, I can simply click the Commit button, and notice that the model has now taken into account these special events and flagged them, and my forecast has adjusted correctly. If I close this dialog box, you can see that I can scroll down into my report, and it will tell me my event codes as well as the impact of those codes as well. I also automatically placed an event modifier on my item with a schedule named Schedule 01. If I wanted to, I could go back into the graph and bring up my Manage Events dialog box again. I could rename the schedule if I like. I can simply come back in here and say Rename from my Schedule drop-down list and change the name of this to, let's say, _ muffins. Say OK. Hit Commit. It applies my changes, and you can see my modifier changed as well. This Manage Events dialog box gives you greater flexibility in making changes to your item, and it makes it much more efficient to put event codes on your items interactively within the tool.